Well, this is going to be hot. Back to Hardball. We're here with our two top strategists to debate our two big topics. First, there's no doubt the wealthy Americans have increased their wealth while their taxes have decreased the last few decades. So are Republicans right to call Obama's tax plan class warfare? And new battleground polling shows that Obama is now neck and neck with Rick Perry and Mitt Romney in both Ohio and Pennsylvania. Can the president be reelected without those two all-important states, Ohio and PA? Let's ask the Hardball strategist. First, obviously they are Democrat Steve McMahon and Republican Todd Harris. Very good. Now, you guys are out calling Obama a class warrior. Why?
Because he is. Look, when you go around the country talking about millionaires and billionaires and corporate jets and hedge fund managers and big oil, and you're firing
up... Is that like talking about welfare queens?
And you're firing up...
Is that like talking about welfare queens?
Yeah, well, that's class warfare, too. And you're firing up your liberal base, that's class warfare. When you pit one class against the other, that's the definition of class warfare. What I don't understand is why the Obama administration is getting so worked up over what Republicans are deciding to label this.
By the way, aren't a lot of Republicans out there bitching, to use a word, about the poor people aren't paying any taxes now? I keep hearing Orrin Hatch.
You hear that all the time.
I've never heard that kind of attack. They're attacking poor people.
How is that an attack?
That's not class warfare.
These poor people don't make enough money to pay taxes, so we resent them for it. And so, I mean, it's a little class warfare-ish, if you will. The president really is just doing something that Democrats have always done, which is talking about how the wealthier among us ought to be willing to pay their fair share. And for generations, the wealthy among us were. And I actually think that many of the wealthy among us still are, but the Republicans don't want to do it. And they're talking about they're talking about jets. They're talking about Warren Buffett paying a lower tax rate than his secretary, because it's something that people can understand, and it's something that, frankly, people don't like very much. When they find out...
Well, here's the president. You can respond to this, Todd. Here's the president earlier this week hitting Republicans for using the class warfare argument against him.
Republicans are going around talking about, well, that's class warfare. You know what? If asking a billionaire to pay the same tax rate as a plumber is class warfare, then sign me up. Sign me up. I'll wear that charge as a badge of honor. The only warfare I've seen waged is against the middle class in this family and ordinary families.
Answer that.
If this were an economic argument, that he actually believed that this would be good economically for the country, then he wouldn't have been opposed to this exact thing 2 years ago. When he said raising taxes in the middle of a recession will dry up economic demand and put business deeper in a hole, it's a bad idea. So 2 years ago, we thought it was a bad idea. Now he's on the verge of an election. Suddenly, it's a good idea.
But you never want the Bush taxes to end. Tax cuts to end. You never want them to end. Can they end in 2 years? Can they end in 2 years, the tax cuts? End in 3 years? When do you want them to end, the Bush tax cuts for the rich?
Let's put tax reform on the table. Let's close all these loopholes.
They never wanted the tax cuts to go.
Todd has cleverly done what Republicans always do, which is conflate personal individual income tax rates with corporate tax rates. The corporate tax rates in the United States, the president actually has said we should lower. He did say it isn't a good idea to raise them in a recession. But we're talking about individuals like Warren Buffett, hedge fund managers who are paying 15% when the plumber and the secretary are paying 25 or 30%. And the president is saying that's not fair. Most Americans think it's not fair, and the Republicans refuse to repeal those tax breaks.
Let's look at some numbers now. I was telling you about numbers. As you can see, the wealthiest 1% of Americans in the United States increased their share of the income generally from just under 10% of the country in 79 to nearly 23%. So they're getting a bigger chunk of the apple here. At the same time, their tax burden has dropped from 37% in 79 down to 31%. So their taxes are getting lighter, their wealth's getting bigger.
Look, if Democrats want to soak the rich and Democrats want this to be their message, that's fine. Run on that. It's a loser. Al Gore tried it. People, not power.
So why are you getting mad about it?
I'm not. What I don't understand is why they don't just embrace the label. It's class warfare. After all the hope, change...
The label doesn't matter.
But that's right. After all the hope and change and promise of Obama, it's come down to debating the definition of class warfare. That's what this...
Well, it could have something to do with you guys spending the last 3 years sticking it to them. But here, looking at the battleground, let's talk politics now, the battleground states. I want you to start here. Quinnipiac, a great polling group, if you come out with this. Ohio Republicans, a potential matchup. Here they are. President Obama leads Texas Governor Rick Perry 44 to 41 within the margin of error there. Also a dead heat is Obama-Romney race. President Obama has a 44% to Romney's 42%, again within the margin of error. These are close. What do you make of that?
Well, this election is going to be
Ohio.
It's going to be a lot more like the Kerry Bush election than the Obama election of 2008. You know, this is going to be a hard-fought, disqualify your opponent kind of a campaign. The president, needs to win Pennsylvania, but the Republicans need to win Ohio, because if they don't win Ohio, it creates a very difficult path for them.
Can the Democrats win re-election? Can the president stay in for 4 more years if he loses Ohio?
I mean, you'd have to come up with something.
How?
I don't know how. You'd have to pick up other states that if you're losing those states,
Florida,
you're not.
If you win Florida, you can win without Ohio, but it becomes a 2 or 3 electoral vote margin. The president has to win Pennsylvania.
Florida's harder to get than Ohio.
Florida is harder to get than Ohio.
So why would that happen? So let's get back to this. Ohio. Tim Russert was brilliant at this, figuring out the state that would matter most. What do you think it is now?
I would say Florida, Pennsylvania, or Ohio. It's going to be.
Whoever wins 2 out of 3. Whoever wins 2 out of 3 of those is probably the president.
The problem is if the president loses a state like Pennsylvania, that's going to be a barometer that things have gone really bad in a whole lot of other places.
I think you're right. But here's an interesting point, and I didn't want to trick you into this, because Todd, you're as smart as I am about politics, and you're almost as smart as I am. This thing about, here we are talking about an election like this. 50-50, 51, 50-49. Is it going to be like that? Or is that a bad assumption? Could it be a wipeout against the president if the economy stays stinking like this?
Well,
I don't know.
Well, as you know, you can have elections that are very, very close in terms of the vote, but still look like a wipeout in terms of the electoral college.
We're talking popular vote here, too.
I think popular vote, I think, is going to be very, very close.
Why does the president survive after all this bad economics? How can he manage to get a 50-50 situation out of an economy with 9.1% unemployment and holding?
Well, he's going to have his base, and the fact is, as much as we would love to run solely against the president, and we will make this campaign a referendum on him, you can't run against somebody with nobody, and so
that's it.
Yeah,
nobody.
So there's going to be.
So the Democrat, you guys have a campaign. You know where you're going to run against Obama. You just don't have a candidate. You guys have a candidate, but you're not sure how to run yet.
Well, I mean, we have an incumbent who's.
We're going to debate that Monday night here, by the way, the great Democratic debate. You'll probably be invited to, because I think the Democrats haven't figured out whether to go down the middle, slightly to the left, like Harry Truman, or all the way to the left, like Roosevelt.
Right now, what the president's doing, he's running a primary campaign without an opponent to gin up the base and to get his fundraising numbers up, because he's going to raise $1 billion. And then he'll move to the middle in the fall, because he has to.
You laugh at that?
No, presidential campaigns are won in the middle. Independent voters are going to decide the outcome of this one, just as they have the last.
Okay, why is your whole party scared of that? Why are you crying for Christie? Why is your party going crazy about this guy that didn't even? He's only been in office 2 years. As a governor of a middle-sized state, what's going on? Why are you so desperate?
Well, he's been a very successful governor of a blue state because of his demeanor, because of the way that he approaches.
Is that what you call that demeanor, yelling out your window at the cab driver that just cut you off?
Yeah, it's awesome. it's great. Look, he excites.
The unemployment rate in New Jersey is higher than it is in the country. The crime rate's going up 3 times faster than the rest of the country.
This?
No, seriously.
They're ready for Christie.
He's been the governor of a blue state, but his numbers are upside down.
Is Christie getting in?
I'm not sure.
He needs to, because he can't win re-election. No, she's not getting in. No way.
Okay, I think I'll get re-elected as governor if he doesn't. Anyway, thank you, Steve McMahon. You're half right. Todd Harris, brilliant guy. We're still waiting for Rubio. I think Chris Christie's taking his job as second place, though. He'll be running mate.